morning. I'm Brian Downs, and this is A Republic If You Can Keep It. I'm coming to you from Orlando, Florida on the 4th of November, 2025, about 6:45 in the a.m. I'd like to talk about The Great Gatsby. So, President Donald J. Trump recently flew himself down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with many other members of the billionaire class and have a party at his southern Florida estate, which featured, of course, food and drink and music and parades of dancing girls. Not something you typically see at a Republican party or rally. But hey, and I'm all for dancing girls, by the way. Don't get me wrong. The more the better. But still, a little off-brand for the Republicans. And the party clearly took its visual and design cues from the 1920s. You see how clever that is? Because it's the 2020s. The people designing Donald Trump's parties are at least as smart as college sophomores. So, this party of course, cost, I'm not sure, millions of dollars to put on. Simply transporting the president and his various, his staff, his entourage, his security detail to South Florida costs millions of dollars in taxpayer money. Donald Trump, who is forcing us to invent a new phrase, it's still under construction, that is some level above and beyond tone deaf, decides to enjoy this bacchanal during a government shutdown that he has inflicted, wherein he is threatening to literally starve millions of Americans by denying them their SNAP benefits. Although it is illegal, that has been established, it is illegal for him to deny those benefits to anyone. Donald Trump, the billionaire, who has been lining his own pockets with the power of the presidency since his first administration. He and his family have raked in billions leaning on that name and prestige. Inflation is going up. American farmers are in crisis. You've seen the news. But Donald Trump decides to go to a South Florida estate and throw himself a multi-million-dollar party, which is at the very least 1920s themed. I've heard the phrase "The Great Gatsby" thrown around. It's not clear to me that the theme of the party was The Great Gatsby, as opposed to just the 1920s, but certainly it has evoked that novel. And if you haven't read that novel, go read the novel. Finish this video. Go and read The Great Gatsby. It's one of the landmarks of American literature, and I reread it every few years. Of course, in The Great Gatsby, the character Jay Gatsby comes into huge wealth in the 1920s and then hosts huge and elaborate parties in his vast home, wherein just about anyone, and the home is on Long Island, and just about anyone in the New York area can wander in, where the drinks are free, and so is the entertainment. So a few things. The Great Gatsby is often misunderstood. What the actual story is about is the futility of glamour and the inability of vast wealth to bring lasting happiness or contentment. Jay Gatsby, in fact, makes his money by selling an addictive poison to helpless addicts. In his case, he was selling alcohol when it was legally prohibited. Whether or not alcohol is legally prohibited at the moment doesn't change the fact that it's an addictive poison. I want to make that clear. In any case, Gatsby makes his money as a criminal. Gatsby makes this fortune in large part because he's in love with Daisy Buchanan, who he fell in love with when he was a younger man. But she didn't marry him because he wasn't rich. So now he has broken every rule and stomped on every ethical standard in order to get the money to convince Daisy to be his girl. Spoiler alert, by the way. He holds these vast parties in the hopes that Daisy, who he knows lives in the area, will one day wander into one. Eventually, he is reunited with Daisy, but the ending is not happy. 1, 2, 3 people wind up dead, including our protagonist. Is it just 3? I think so. They were careless people. I don't have the quote in front of me, I'm paraphrasing. They were careless people. They smashed up creatures and things, and then they retreated into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that kept them together, and they left it to others to clean up the mess they had made. Famous passage from the book, paraphrased by me. So, the point of all this is, Donald J. Trump, personally a billionaire, a criminal, a con artist, a first-class bastard in every way, has inflicted an economic crisis on America and by extension a lot of the world, wherein millions of Americans fear losing access to health care, fear hunger. Here in America in the 21st century, amber waves of grain. Cattle farmers somehow going broke. Soybean farmers in bankruptcy because Trump's stupid trade war has cut off access to the Chinese market completely. While Trump decides that he's going to buy beef from Argentina. You've heard all this. You've seen these stories in the media. That is where Donald Trump has put us. And then President, lamentably, Donald J. Trump says, hey, you know what I'm going to do? At great taxpayer expense, I'm going to go on down to my state in South Florida and throw myself a party that evokes the imagery of a famous novel about the emptiness of excess. How does he, who is managing this man's public image? Him, obviously, evidently, as he descends ever more obviously into dementia. Again, it's been much covered in the media that it certainly seems that Donald Trump has had at least one stroke, which has not been disclosed to the American people. I give Donald Trump my admiration. I give Donald Trump the credit he deserves. He has not yet, even in his old age and his dotage, lost his ability to baffle me very nearly into silence. How can anyone behave this way and not die of shame? Donald Trump. He's the one. He is the anti-hero of all anti-heroes, and we have him for president.